Can you guys hear me now? Oh my gosh, I forgot I changed the settings yesterday when I was on trying to do the live stream yesterday with Shan. Okay, you can hear me now? Okay, good. Sorry about that. I was just answering, commenting back to Turquoise, and no one was responding, so that's why. Can you guys hear me on D Live? Yes? Okay. Cool. So, since you didn't hear what I said, um, I was explaining to you guys that some or most of the people on D Live have not either heard of the Watts case or are not that familiar with it, um, like you guys over here on YouTube are. So, hey, Miss Vegan. Hey, Tammy. So, when I do this multi-stream, it might be a little repetitive to some of you. But again, it doesn't hurt to go back and watch these again and talk about them. So I was streaming on D Live before this, and I tried to play Chris's interview on his porch, but I was having buffering issues, so I just figured I'll just try restream, get some practice with it, and if it messes up, then no big deal. We'll try it again on StreamYard. But yeah, Turquoise, that's crazy. Yeah, she definitely has a motive, that's for sure. But she's live again. Yeah, she's persistent. Hey Mark, how's it going? Did you golf this weekend? Or last weekend? This past weekend? Oh, never mind. I forgot. You're not in golfing weather right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up. It's great weather here. It was actually kind of hot today. We're supposed to get rain. We got a little bit of rain yesterday, and we're supposed to get rain this weekend, but it keeps changing. I don't think they know what's going on. Okay, well, I'll try to play the video of Chris on his porch doing the news interview, and if it doesn't work, then I'll just maybe try this later or in a little bit and do it on StreamYard. Yeah, the simulators aren't the same, Mark. Definitely not. They're cool though. Snowstorm, Collins? Oh wow, burr. Yeah, I don't do well with the cold. Oh, I'm in Arizona, Miss Vegan. It was actually 71 degrees, believe it or not, when I was driving home a little bit ago from the store. A 65 in Florida. That's not too bad, Miss Vegan. Is it really humid though? I don't know Florida weather. I just know that it's humid. I don't know if it's humid all year round, but really turquoise. Yeah, if I was on D Live, I would play it just so we could talk about it, but I'm not going to do that on YouTube. Oh, Swamp Lover used to live in Prescott. Yeah, Prescott's nice. Prescott and Sedona. Well, anywhere up north, pretty much in Arizona, is really nice. Except in the wintertime, not for me. Yeah, Vegas even gets hotter sometimes than Arizona. Marzi Mills, you all need to get a life and let the girls rest in peace. Then this is what boggles my mind about some people. And I have like a lot of patience, and this stuff doesn't really bother me all that easily. But what I don't understand is when people will come into a Chris Watts uh, live stream and say that the case is over, we need to stop talking about it, get a life, let them rest in peace. But then they're in the chat room, in a Chris Watts chat room. So I don't understand their thought process. It just why are you here if the case is closed and we need to stop talking about it? Or they'll do the same thing. They'll go into the comment section on videos and they'll say, case is closed. Stop talking about it. Get a life. Then what are you still doing watching Chris Watts videos and even in that community? I don't understand it. Not judging, stating a fact. I don't, what fact did you state? And the case may be closed, but there's so many holes and inconsistencies in this case. And for anyone to say that there aren't is crazy. Like, I was just thinking about this yesterday. How, like, how rude people are in this true crime community. Because again, I've said this before, but I'm still new to it because this is, even though it's going on like 2 years now that I've been covering this case, I'm new to it because it's the first case I've covered or made videos on in true crime. And I just can't believe how like rude people are. Like it's just crazy and it boggles my mind. I don't know if it's just this case, which it might be, but and I've asked others that have been in the true crime community for a while, and I was like, just are other cases like this? Are people that, like, just crazy and mean and just rude to each other? It's crazy, like, "Hey, Danger Dave." Yeah, Google, exactly. I mean, again, I don't as far as I know, that's what the true crime community is about, is to talk about the cases and be able to, discuss them and not have people attacking people and doxing people. I just don't understand where the hatred comes from. And it's like if you don't want to hear people talk about it, then you don't have to watch the videos or the live streams. Like, that's the beauty of still being able to make decisions in this country or this world. And don't know how long that's going to last for, but no one's forcing you to watch them. And I'm not trying to be rude, but it's I just don't understand again some people's thought process. It just like I've never watched a video and was just so furious or pissed off about it that I had to just give it a thumbs down. Like, I hate this video. Like, no, I'm giving it a thumbs down. It's like, no, if I don't like it, then I move on to the next one and I don't watch that channel again. But I don't, I just don't see the stupid thumbs up thing and thumbs down thing I don't get the point of it. But it's like people just can't resist. They're like, I have to push that thumbs down button. Like, do people just get like some sort of rush from doing it? I don't know. I don't get it. And it's so much easier when they're not the ones making the videos and taking the time out of their life to research this stuff to get what should be factual information to people in the true crime community or anywhere on YouTube for that matter that is claiming to be talking about facts and truthful information. It's a lot easier for them on the other side of the screen. So, most of the time, if anybody has something rude to say in my comments or something, I'll usually respond with something um, just as sarcastic, if not more sarcastic back. And it usually works. They don't usually comment again after that. So it's kind of funny. But if they say anything rude, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I'm not perfect and I'm not the best at making videos, but I think I'm progressing every day. So some constructive criticism would be nice instead of just saying, "Oh, you talk too fast," or "You talk too slow," or "Hurry up with it," or "You talk like a robot," or whatever. It's like, how about you appreciate the fact that I'm taking my time out of my life to do this, and that it's not easy doing what I appreciate creators and streamers so much more now than I did. I was never rude to them, but once you finally do it, you appreciate people more that do it because it does take a lot of time, like I said, and it is not easy. Especially, like someone like myself who doesn't is not a strong person. Like, I'm not a good speaker. So I'm going out of my comfort zone and doing this, even though I'm not showing my face or um so for me to come out of my, comfort zone to do this, you would hope for the most part that people would respect that and again, give you constructive criticism because you can't learn unless people tell you what you're doing wrong or whatever. So, anyways, but thanks for stopping by. See, turquoise, and that's what I believe that um, Twin Peaks #2 is doing. Oh, and for those of you on D Live, if you don't know who Turquoise is talking about, KK is a woman who claims that she is friends with the Watts family, that she's in contact with Chris Watts every single day. They email, talk on the phone, shows up 2 years later out of the blue. There's been a few of those that have done this and starts making accusations saying that Shanann had who was actually the one who killed the children and not Chris. And but sorry, I was reading the chat. But I believe that, and I've mentioned this before in another live stream, but with this case, it seems that a lot of people seem to have an agenda. And now, agendas can be, people can have good agendas and they can have bad agendas. With this case in particular, I'm starting to think that most people covering this case have an agenda. And I personally believe that KK is trying to stir people up, get people pissed off, at the fact that she's saying that Shanann, because everyone is, for the most part, people are emotionally invested in this case. And that's what's going to get people, outraged and fired up by saying that this victim actually was the one who murdered her children and not Chris. So when I start to see right off the bat in chat rooms people saying, this is crazy, we need to do something about this, this has to stop, these people can't bash these victims, you can't accuse a dead woman of killing her kids, we need to do something about this needs to be put to a stop. That's when I start to freak out and I start to get upset, because without even thinking rational or thinking that maybe that there could be a reason why she just showed up out of nowhere and why she's still going strong on YouTube and her channel hasn't been taken down, it makes you wonder. Like, it's okay to accuse a victim in a murder case of murdering her children. That's okay. That's not in the YouTube guidelines. But to question a event that has many holes and inconsistencies in the narrative is not okay. So that I don't understand. Why is questioning an event that has so many problems with it, so many unanswered questions, is not allowed, but you can accuse someone of murder or being an accomplice to murder? Why is that okay? Why is that not hate speech? But questioning an event, again, with many inconsistencies, is considered hate speech. So she wants to get people on social media pissed off. How dare you do this? How dare you accuse, and then they start saying that we need something done about it. And that's that Hegelian dialectic that I talk about. Problem, reaction, solution. She's creating the problem by accusing Shanann of killing her children. And then, people on social media are going, this is crazy. She can't do that. This is ridiculous. We need something done about it. So they're asking for, a solution to that problem. And then boom, in comes the solution. And that's taking away our free speech. Because that's essentially what they want. They don't want any alternative media sources on YouTube questioning anything, questioning the narrative. But they most likely know that there's nothing wrong with that. So they got to find another way to take our free speech away. So the fact that, people were immediately saying that something needs to be done about that and they're literally asking to get their rights taken away because they don't realize that that's what they're doing. So they don't want, not, this is just generally speaking, they don't want armchair detectives on social media. They don't want people like myself who notice the inconsistencies and these same characteristics that they use all the time and speaking out about it. And when the other attempts by the Ruseks, Shanann's parents, and their behavior on social media, when that didn't work, because there's no proof that these victims are getting death threats or people are harassing them. And again, I've never seen any channel until just recently with these two individuals mocking Shanann and the girls and accusing her of killing them, her children. I had not seen any other channels that were talking bad about Shanann or the victims or the Ruseks or the Watts. Now you might see it like on Facebook or Reddit or whatever, but I didn't see any evidence of what the Ruseks were claiming. So when, that whole attempt failed with them causing division between, the pro Shanann or pro Watts and pro Ruseks and supporting and encouraging channels that are on their side, and then mocking and ridiculing other channel creators that weren't on their side, totally causing division between people in the true crime community. When that failed and the whole Shanann's Law thing didn't work, I think this is their kind of last hurrah. And that's when they brought in Miss KK. And I also find it interesting that because she's pretty much saying a lot of what I've been saying and a lot of what you guys have been saying as far as the corruption in the case and how it wasn't handled correctly. So I definitely think that that has something to do with it, and I'm just not exactly sure what yet, as far as her going after Tammy Lee, the other CBI agent, and Rourke and the rest of the crew. Well, thanks, Sarah, for the lemons. Okay, so I'm going to show you something. Let me find this website really quick that I found yesterday. Okay, just give me one sec, guys. I want to work on other cases, and I have noticed Miss Vegan for Life. I'm already starting to notice these characteristics, that I keep beating into your guys' heads over and over again because they're super important. But I'm already noticing some of them in some of these other more recent cases. One in particular is the Sharkey case, the Alexis Sharkey, and the Suzanne Morphew. I haven't had a chance to look into the 2 California City missing kids yet, but and I thought about covering the Sharkey case with you guys, but I didn't know if that was going to get too far ahead. I mean, because I'm still trying to, show you guys the truth of what's really going in the Watts case. So to go into another case, unless you guys think that would help, because maybe showing the consistencies between the two, I could totally do that. But this case by itself keeps me busy. Yeah, and Google Thought Police, surprisingly enough, a lot of people do not know about this case, and I would not have known about the case either because I don't watch TV or the news unless it's on social media and they're calling them out on it. And I would not have known about the case if I hadn't gone to Colorado that Christmas. So although it is, a pretty huge case for all the documentaries that now with the Netflix documentary that just came out, but then again, I don't know how big true crime homicide cases are outside of the true crime social media community. And if you don't watch, Lifetime or any of the true crime documentary channels, then it's likely that you probably wouldn't know about it. Trying to remember what website it was here. Okay, realtor.com. Okay. Here we go. So, okay, Collins. Yeah, I'll see you over there later. Okay, so we don't need to share audio, I don't think. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen share. Hopefully. Yeah, Tammy, go ahead, Ashton. Should be able to see this realtor.com. So the other day, I'd seen a comment on another Chris Watts video, something about the Google Maps. I don't remember exactly what it said, but something about them not being updated still. So I decided to just put the address in it again, and realtor.com was one of the first ones that came up. So I clicked on it. So let's see if I can get this bigger. I don't know. Can you guys see that? Hopefully. Not sure how to make it like full screen. So if you look here, this is the kind of stuff that that I've been telling you guys about. These little breadcrumbs, and some people call them Easter eggs. If you look at the bed and bath on realtor.com, it says 8 beds, 13 baths. We know that the Watts house is not that big. It's a big house, but it's not that big. It's, I think, 5 bedroom, 3 baths. So does anybody notice anything in particular about those two numbers before I tell you? I'll wait. I don't know if the chat's frozen or if nobody's commenting. And yes, Mia's great. Okay, Allison said 13. Yep. Yeah, so no, kitty. Oh God. Okay. It's okay. I'm not yelling at you. It's okay. Just don't walk on Mama's computer, okay? Silly. Sorry, my cat tried to walk on my laptop. Okay, so I have looked up this house several times in the past couple of years and looked at all these real estate websites and have never seen it say 8 bed, 13 baths. Okay, so not only do we have 13, which is a number that has popped up many times throughout this case, but you also have the 8, which is 8/13, which is the day that the murders happened. So why would realtor.com have these numbers as how many baths that the Watts has? Okay, the Watts house. Not only that, but if you look, Betty's house, and again, there could be a reasonable explanation for it. Usually, there is, or it could be explained. But when stuff like this keeps consistently happening in this case, is when it starts becoming less, coincidental and more on purpose. Now, I don't know who can edit this information. As far as I know, you have to own the house. Unless you are realtor.com, the only way you can edit your house information or home information is if you're the owner. Now, I don't know if I can bring it up quick enough for you guys without wasting too much time, but if you get some spare time, go to Google Maps and, put the address in, zoom in the surrounding area. Oh, actually, no, I can pull it up right here. It might actually already do it for me. Something else I'd rather interesting. Okay, I'm just going to put the address in. Oops. Oh, well, okay. Hey, Grizz. Hey, access denied. Okay, so when I was on the same website, not Zillow, but when I was on Realtor, I was just browsing that page, and it shows that the towards the bottom of the page, it shows other houses in that area of the house that you're looking at. One of those houses is 1386 Graham Circle, Erie, Colorado, 8516, which is the same zip code as the Saratoga house, the Watts Saratoga house. Okay. Something I didn't notice until just right now, it says 13 and 8 again in it, which again could be total coincidence, but something to keep in mind. Now, who do we know in the case whose name is Graham? Graham Coder, CBI. Okay. I get it could totally be just a coincidence. Graham's a common name. I don't know name. Is it spelled differently? A little bit. But it's in the same zip code, and I believe it's even in, I'll have to double check it, but it might be in the Windham Hill community, say Watts. Now, I'm going to show you another address that you might find interesting. I don't know why my caps are on opposite. So now we have 1596 Meacham Way, Erie, Colorado, 80516. Who do we know in the Watts case that has the name Meacham? Christina Meacham, right? Shanann's friend that she worked with, and fellow Thriver. So we have in the same zip code, and again, I believe it's even fairly like down the street, a street name called Graham, and a street name in the same zip code that the Watts lived in called Meacham. Again, both names are spelled a little bit differently, but what are the odds that two surrounding streets of the Watts home share the same name as two other people involved in the case? Graham is a little bit more, again, probably common, but Meacham, Christina Meacham, Shanann's friend, is not, as a very common last name. Thanks for the ice cream, Grizz. Appreciate it. Mark, yeah, I have been to the sandbar in Chandler. Actually, there's two sandbars. I don't know if the other one's still open on the west side, but I've been to the sandbar. Why do you ask? You been there? Actually, I think there's three. No. Yeah, two. The other one's in Desert Ridge. I was thinking of a different one. Okay, are you in Arizona, Kane? So anyways, I just wanted to show you guys that because I just found it, like I said, the other day. And there's also another name connected to the case, a street name that I found a while back. Maybe I'll make a video on it, but those kind of things, I'll bring them up, but those might be, again, stretching. Personally, I don't believe it's stretching just because of so many of these, Easter eggs and breadcrumbs popped up in this case. I don't think that they're coincidental at all. And usually when I'm not doing these live streams, there's a million things that I want to talk to you guys about. But then, of course, I get on the air here, and I don't even know where to begin with this case. But man, you get me in one of those chat rooms on other channels, and I'm like, nope, it's this and this and this. And I was in a chat the other night, and I was super frustrated because of the whole thing with Kessinger's text messages, and it's really frustrating because I don't know how many times I've said it and how many videos I made about it, about as far as law enforcement recovering them, or if there are any that they didn't show us. They didn't, and I'll say it again, and I'm probably going to say it again in the future, but law enforcement did not do what they needed to do in order to recover, if they even exist, Kessinger's text messages. Because before I go any further, the way they have the text messages written out on in the discovery, that's not what a mobile forensics printout or report data dump looks like. It doesn't print out like that. So somebody went in there and manually put those, the picture numbers that come with all of them, and the text messages. Someone manually put those into the discovery because we don't have the full data dumps. So that's just pieces that they decided to put in there to show us. Because data dumps can be like thousands of pages long. And what we got, like, quite a few from Shanann, but not the full dump. So it's very possible that, as another person has recently brought to our attention, that there's an error as far as the text messages go, and as far as maybe not the text messages, but the what picture was sent from who and to who and whatever. It's very likely that there will be errors because, again, it's not the actual printout of the data dump. So whether or not the person that was putting the information into the discovery did it on accident and it was just a simple mistake, or if it was done on purpose. We don't know. That's the problem with the discovery. And that's why a lot of people want that data, the phone data dumps, but they're never going to release them to us ever, ever, ever. And they only show us what they want us to see. And I'm curious because it's granted that's their job, that's what they do every day, but when you're providing information to the public and trying to be transparent, why is it that whatever they choose to show us, why is it what they think is relevant? Like, how do we know if other people aren't seeing the information or all the evidence just because they might think it's relevant and some other information is not relevant? That, that doesn't mean that it's not, because that's just their personal opinion, regardless if that's their job or not. Like, you have to look at all the evidence, which we should be able to do if they're going to provide us with that evidence. But instead, they pick out this, the information that they, again, want us to see and what supports their narrative. So, like, for example, how many of the internet search history results did we get that Kessinger deleted? Like, what, 5? What was it, like the Pornhub one? Can cops trace text messages? And the other text message one, her searching for the Saratoga address, and Ronnie Watts and whoever else, like what, maybe like 10. Do you know how many times a day, like, I search on my phone or on my computer? And you're telling me that there's only maybe 10 things that Kessinger searched within a 3-month time period that's relevant? I find that hard to believe. Like, for instance, they even mention about the searching for the double penetration and Pornhub or whatever, and the threesome thing. It even says in the discovery something like, this wasn't the first time that Kessinger searched for porn on the, or whatever. Okay, so why aren't we seeing that? Why aren't we seeing those search results too then? Why just show us the one and then just tell us that she searched it multiple times? Why not provide all the times she searched? Is that not relevant? Why even mention the first one if you're not going to show the rest? Again, in these events, in these cases, they only show us what they want us to see and what's enough to push their agenda. So that's why they're not going to provide all that information, all the, I don't care if it was only a three-month long investigation. Like, there should be way more information than that. Even the 200 pages that's supposedly redacted or whatever that they're not going to release, there should be way more information. And just alone in their phone dumps. Like, I don't care if it's, 20,000 pages long. They don't have to show us her other messages between her family and her friends. They should. It does actually, it doesn't matter, because, again, just because they don't think it's relevant, if you're going to be transparent and you're going to release all this information in the case, then we should be able to see all of it. I mean, they didn't even, they're going to argue and say, oh, well, they can't release personal information, because they have to protect the people involved and, the victims. Well, that's bullshit, because they didn't even bother to redact any of the information in the discovery when they first released it. Now they're redacting it over a year later, 2 years later. So why not redact everyone else's personal information in the discovery, but then say, oh no, we can't release Kessinger's phone dump because it has personal information on it, you know? So we have to respect your privacy, protect your privacy. It just doesn't make any sense. Like someone mentioned the other day about there's no way that my theory could be possible because for whatever reason, but that they didn't release information to us, like that the discovery was leaked. The online discovery that everybody has been able to view for 2 years now, if that discovery was leaked online, do you really think it's going to be up for over 2 years now? I'm pretty sure if it was leaked that it would be taken down immediately if they didn't want that information out. And I'm sorry, I don't know why Streamlabs is still saying please refrain from using the W word because I thought I shut that off. So sorry about that. Okay, scroll up. I'm trying to get to like the comments above here. Stop. Okay. Okay, I was trying to scroll up in the comments to see. I think it was C-Dub that asked, but what the motive is for just releasing what they want us to see. They're only going to release, okay. In another event prior to this one, it has almost all the same characteristics that the Watts case, except it's two totally different scenarios. In these events, they're going to have, for the most part, the same characteristics. And they're the ones that I bring up all the time. Like in my red flags video, and that I'm going to keep bringing up over and over again so that you guys remember them. So I forgot what I was saying now. Dang it. Okay, it doesn't matter. Back to your question. I mean, it does matter, but they only release what they want us to see because they only have to do enough to push their narrative. So they're not going to go out of the way to, they're not going to do more than they have to do in order to push the psychological aspect of it. Because they know that the majority of people are just going to believe it. So they're not going to have to go all the way. So they're not going to have to provide us with, autopsy photos. They're not going to provide us with an actual crime scene investigation, evidence collecting, crime scene. Like, that's why they didn't give us, an actual place where the murders happened. That's why we don't know if they were murdered in the house. We don't know if they were murdered in the truck. We don't know if they were murdered at Servy. We still don't know 100% sure. If you want to believe Chris's 3 different confessions, then that's up to you. But I don't believe any of them. So they do this so that they don't have to, excuse me, so they don't have to go that extra step. They don't have to go that extra step and show us that they're collecting evidence from the house. And, like, okay, so you have the body cam footage, right? So they're just throwing all this evidence in those trash bags. Like, that's not real. So although that seems like they're releasing a ton of information, it's really not. Yeah, I mean, is it almost 2,000 pages? Yeah, and it seems like a lot, but again, a lot of it's filler, a lot of it's duplicated information, a lot of the pages are missing compared to a normal investigation that has like over 20,000. Regardless if there's a plea deal or not and they stopped investigation, which that's a whole nother argument there. So I remember what I was going to say a little bit ago. With the other case that has all the same characteristics as the Watts case, they also released it wasn't called a discovery, it was called a fit report. Now the fit report is almost identical to the discovery, and the main party involved, and that it's going to be very difficult because I'm on YouTube, so I have to be careful. The person that was accused of the crimes, they provided his search history in the fit report, and it was less than 10 internet searches, and conveniently all fit the narrative. It's just, how do you only have, 10 less than 10 internet searches from people involved in these cases in 2017 and 2018? But it conveniently, the ones they provide fits the narrative. Also in this other case, they claimed that the mainstream media, hey Fox, the mainstream media was threatened to sue, or they did take them to court, this police department, if they didn't release all the body cam footage, all the, interviews, 911 calls, you name it. But, and I know it's going to, sound crazy and kind of hard to believe, but how hard would it be for them to say that in order to, okay, let me rephrase this. It wouldn't be difficult to just make up that whole scenario about the mainstream media suing the police department in order to get the information put out there. So instead of saying, oh, release the information in order to start the psychological aspect of everything. This is really difficult. Saying, okay, so it's just an excuse that they use, okay? Same thing with the Watts case. I was under the impression that they had to release the information that they did and the discovery and everything because it's a open record state. But no, come to find out, you still, even though it's open, you still have to Cora request them or FOIA request information on a case in order to get that information. So they don't just release all of it because it's an open record state. I didn't know that. Someone corrected me and said that same thing, that the mainstream media made a big old hype about it because it was such a horrific case, and that's why Weld County had to release and the DA had to release this information. So it's the same thing that happened in this other event with a ton of holes in the narrative, a ton of inconsistencies, more questions than answers. And with information released like that, it should be open and shut. There shouldn't be so many unanswered questions when we're being provided with information compared to other cases. So that was one of those red flags. I'm like, that's weird because that seems exactly like the other case that I followed before this one as far as releasing the information. And that FIT report also, most of it was not redacted. Personal information, some witnesses' information was redacted, but then it still showed information where anybody could just go and look up a simple, internet search and find them. It wouldn't be difficult. So it's like, oh, we'll redact some of this information here, but then we're not going to redact this person's information. So again, same thing, but two totally different scenarios, same characteristics, same inconsistencies. Then you have, in the other case, you have something called data dumps. Same thing with the Watt case. We had Discovery 1, Discovery 2. We didn't have Shanann's doorbell footage until later. We had the pictures that were released of Chris and Kessinger, and some newer ones from the sand dunes that were actually super clear and not all grainy and blurry like they were from like 1998. So that's weird, right? It's like, okay, why weren't the images and released like that in the Discovery in the first place? Why did we get grainy, crappy ones, and now all of a sudden they're crystal clear? So they release this information in data dumps to get people to continue talking about the case and get them interested in the case, or some new breaking information will always come out, just like the prison cell phone calls, right when they see that the case is starting to die down, again, breaking news, whatever, new phone call, like, it happens every time. So I started seeing all the body cam footage released. The Discovery was released. Hey, Allison. Yeah, I would love somebody to come on and talk to me about it, whether you agree with me or you don't agree with me. And if there's anything that you guys are confused about, because again, I know I'm not a very great speaker, and I know I say this all the time, and I need to stop doing that, but I'm not. Um, tell me why you don't agree with what I'm saying, and because I want to hear your guys' thoughts, because I think that's important. Like I hear so many times, well, I think you have a lot of things that make me think that you say, Megan, but I don't 100% agree with your theory. So, but they don't ever tell me why they don't agree with it. They just, I don't agree with it. So, I'd love for those people to tell me why they don't agree with it, pretty much. So, um, so the information release, that was another red flag to me, because I kept seeing the uh, same characteristics, and even though they're two completely different cases and scenarios. Hey, one Ironaut, how are you? Um, Another thing that I noticed, how they're similar, is I'm just gonna go over these red flags real quick, and I won't keep you guys much longer because my voice is already obviously getting raspy here, but I sound like I'm like 50. I've been smoking for 50 years now. Never had a cigarette in my life. But another similarity, and I know that if people are just getting here, they're going to say, well, "What case are you talking about?" I don't know, but that's how frowned upon it is about talking about these other cases in the past. But with the other case prior to the Watts, you have another red flag to look for, and that is when evidence is, well, lack thereof. So if there's hardly any evidence that they provide in the case, if evidence gets destroyed, if evidence goes missing, that's one of the red flags you're going to want to look out for. Now, in this, I don't even know if I want to say this, but in the other case prior to the Watts, there was no ballistic reports. There was no autopsy photos. There was the perpetrator's body was cremated just a couple months after the event, while the investigation was still ongoing. They cremated his body. Okay, so take that all in, if you want. But how can you? So if they ever needed to go back and do another autopsy, or whatever, like, they cremated the one person responsible for allegedly taking a ton of lives, innocent people's lives, and yet they cremated him. Okay, while the investigation was still going on, like I said. And that's just a couple examples in that case, without me talking about it too much. What do you mean, one eye or not? As far as he was videoing the case. So in the Watts case, we have Chris's truck that was sold off just a couple after, or auctioned off. And this is the vehicle that allegedly transported 3 dead bodies in it. I mean, that's pretty significant. And to just auction it off. And some people say, well, they already got all the evidence that they needed out of it. They already, searched the truck or whatever. But how do you know they got everything? We'll never know because they auctioned it off. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, you guys. So you have to think about it like that. Like, how do you just auction off a potential crime scene that could hold a lot of evidence that they might have missed? But oh well, they auctioned it off. It's gone now. Who cares, right? I would care if it was my family that, was murdered. And if I had an issue with the case, I would, if I was the Ruseks or the Watts, I would have a huge issue with this case. And I would demand that they go back and look for more evidence and see if they might have missed some. When nothing adds up and there's so many inconsistencies. So even if, say, hypothetically, if the Watts and Ruseks did want to, oh well, because the truck's gone. And then you have, with that other case, you have inconsistencies in the autopsy report too. Just like in the Watts case, different color hair, even though they had brown hair or blonde hair, whatever. The eye color didn't match up. They completely left off, or didn't even mention in the autopsy that it appeared to have some sort of wound. Again, I don't want to go too much detail because of algorithms. In his chest, there was blood on his chest. Doesn't even mention it in the autopsy. Incomplete autopsy with that. Incomplete autopsy with the Watts case. Inconsistencies. Same thing. And I know if Dave G's still here, he can correct me or help me out. But with Shanann's autopsy, they didn't even, I think he said that they waited 48 hours or something to do it. Same thing with the other case. They waited, I don't think they did it for, see, I don't want to give false information, but they waited a lot longer than they should have to do his autopsy, especially considering that he just allegedly, killed a lot of people. So you would think that would be pretty significant and important to do. They also did the same thing for the time of death. They couldn't provide it, even though they found his body. I shouldn't even say he found its body. Really, they couldn't provide us with the time of death, just like Shanann and the girls. They gave us a death of all. They gave us the time of death of when his body was found, just like Shanann and the girls. They all died at the same time and on the same day. With all the victims, same thing. They all died at the exact same time, even though it happened over a certain amount of, a certain period of time. So again, same similarities. No autopsy photos in the Watts case. Same with the other case, like I mentioned. So when they fail to provide any evidence or hardly any evidence to show that people actually lost their lives, that's a huge red flag. And I'm probably pushing my luck there when I just said that, but oh well. Because again, you would think as transparent as they seem to be, Why is there so many unanswered questions? Why is there so lack thereof evidence? Lack of evidence. Evidence or lack thereof. I'm just and it's not that, people will say, why do you want to see, horrific pictures of these, victims that were, murdered in a horrific way. It's not that I want to see something like that. I personally don't want to see that at all. However, it does help to um validify, is that the right word? What they're saying and what we're being told. And they don't have to show us the entire gruesome autopsy photos. But we don't have, again, we don't have a picture of a hand, a foot. We don't have the lacerations on Shanann's neck. They could blur out her face very easily. We don't have dental x-rays. We don't have bone x-rays. Like, why is that not why are we not allowed to see something like that? Why can we not handle that? Is that what they think? And now that, let's say, for instance, the case does get reopened and they have to exhume Shanann's body or the girls to, or I mean, maybe not now because it's going on 2 years, but I'm just saying, what if Chris appealed and it did go to trial and they had to, God forbid, exhume the bodies in order to go back and see if there's anything they missed in the autopsies or whatever. But now they're sealed because they said they sealed the caskets. And now it's going on 2 years. So, evidence, the longer you wait, the more evidence is going to, not be as easy to access. That makes sense. I mean, again, look at the way they handled on that body cam footage the evidence from Survey 319. Oh no, yeah, Alicia, I know that the case isn't going to be open, but I was just being hypothetical. But I'm just saying, what if, it did go to trial, or what if they did have to go back and get evidence, or they had to get evidence from Chris's work truck? They can't because they auctioned it off. And that's what they do in these orchestrated events. They destroy evidence. One example is in 2001. They, if I can't say any more about that either because that's how it goes. So it doesn't matter how big or small, like the characteristics are going to be the same. But they will have certain ones or different ones that are going to cater to that specific event because they are all different. But if they did have to go back and get evidence, they can't because they sold it off. And again, that's what they do so that people can't demand it, or well, sorry, it's gone. We auctioned off his truck. But the body cam footage of them taking the evidence, quote unquote, from Survey 319 to that drying locker, to the forensics laboratory, number one, I've done research on it, and there's supposed to be a forensic analyst there supervising to make sure that the evidence is not being contaminated and who can sign off on the evidence saying this evidence was not contaminated because I was there and and I made sure that it was preserved. No, you have two police officers from Longmont, or one of them is the Perez, talking to Baumhofer on the phone, asking him what he should do with the leftover dirt. And Baumhofer doesn't even seem to know what to do with the dirt, which is crazy to me. They don't know whether to put it in a plastic bag or a paper bag, or it's like, what do you mean you don't know what paper or plastic? This isn't the grocery store. Like, and then Baumhofer tells them to just brush the dirt off the table onto the floor or into a trash bin. What about that dirt? Is that dirt not significant? Is that not important? What if there's evidence or DNA in there? But when you're not looking for any actual DNA, it doesn't matter. It boggles my mind that they would do that just on the body cam footage, just clearly showing that they're not handling evidence the correct way. But they don't care. Because again, the majority of people are going to watch that and they're just going to believe it. And for the ones that question it are outnumbered, for one, and two, there's nothing we can do about it. So it's pretty much, so what if we only half-ass this investigation? What are you going to do about it? You can't do anything about it because we, the government and law enforcement, can legally lie to you, the public, and push propaganda and not have to answer to it or have any repercussions for it. So they can make up any news story that they want to, you guys. Anything. First thing that comes to your head. It could be the craziest thing. It could be the smallest thing. They can legally do it. And they do it all the time. And people believe it every single day. And not ever for a second question whether what they're being told is factual or not. Or ask questions. Or go try to vet the information that the mainstream media is telling us. One aeronaut, are you talking about on the body cam? I thought that was strange at first because I never heard the dispatch on the other end, but I did find out that he had an earpiece in with his Axon radio. I think if that's what you're asking. So again, like all these unanswered questions and all these inconsistencies, they are never going to answer them, and they don't have to answer them. So again, we can try to solve this case till the cows come home, but it's going to be impossible based on the information they gave us, which is only part of the information. And not only that, but we don't even know what part of the information is true or not, or if any of it is true. and then that's the thing. Like Alicia just said that NK helped, but we don't know that. And like this, and I don't want to say this poor woman, because trust me, she's um was fully aware of everything going on. And I'm not talking about um having an affair with him. I'm not talking about um knowing about Shanann being pregnant or being married. None of the narrative. I'm talking about she's fully aware of her role in this case. And I can say 10 times in a row, I think Kessinger helped with the murders, or I think she did I think she killed all of them. I could say that over and over and over and over again in this live stream, and I won't get in trouble for it. But I will get in trouble if I question the authenticity of the case. No, I know, Alicia. I know that. I wasn't saying that, but your comment just reminded me of it. Oh, yeah, Nikki, I don't think Chris killed his kids either. That I will agree with you. But I agree with you for a different reason. Hey, Elizabeth. Chris didn't kill his kids. Shanann didn't kill her kids, or the kids. Kessinger didn't kill the kids. Jim didn't kill the kids. Troy McCoy didn't kill the kids. And any other coworker didn't kill Shanann or the girls. Nobody committed murder. Do you guys get? You guys see what I'm getting at there? The information in this case was released on purpose so that we all get hooked on it. We get our heartstrings pulled at. We get emotionally invested in the case. We dive down rabbit holes for going on 2 years now, trying to solve all the inconsistencies and all the gaps, in the narrative, even though everything fits just perfect. There's so much missing information, so that we stick our heads, in this discovery. Sorry. So that we, stick our heads in this discovery, and we're distracted, and we don't pay attention to what's going on around us. So, hey, look over here and don't pay attention to what's going on over there, or what laws were, passing right underneath your guys' noses. Because that's a lot of the times what they'll do. They'll distract so that we're not paying attention to what else is going on around in the world, because we're too focused on what celebrity is getting charged with something, like Maxwell and the whole whatever. It's all a distraction. That's one reason. Another one is to, again, pull it people's heartstrings and get people emotionally attached to the case, get people upset at how horrific all these murders are, and essentially put fear into, millions of people. Because if someone like Chris Watts, who never showed any previous signs of violent tendencies, all of his friends, family, coworkers, in-laws, all had nothing but great things to say about the guy. He would never hurt a fly. Always kept to himself, shy, which is weird that they said that, because if you look at some of some of his videos, Shanann's videos, he's pretty talkative. So that's weird. But so nobody, had anything bad to say about the guy. Just like the case that I was just talking about earlier. All of his friends, family said he was nice, didn't have any political affiliations, retired, just liked to do his own thing, didn't show any signs. So if someone like Chris Watts, who appeared as a, great dad, loving husband, all around just great guy, can just all of a sudden wake up one day and just murder his entire family for some woman that he only knew a couple months. If someone like him can do that, then what's stopping it from happening to you or to anybody else? What's stopping your significant other from waking up one day, even though he's a great dad, great, loving husband, just all around great guy? How do you know that's not going to happen to you tomorrow? That's what they want you to think. They want you to think that if Chris Watts can do it, that it can happen to you. They want us to always be in fear, because that's the way you're going to control people, is through fear. And especially it's going to affect women that have children. Trust, again, they want us to live in fear, and they don't want us to, trust anybody but the government and law enforcement. And again, there's going to be multiple motives in these events. Fear is one. Distraction is one. Money is another. Who's benefiting from all this? Who is gaining the most from it? What law are they trying to pass? What, what political party, not party, but person, like, Rourke, what is he up for election coming up? Is he what is he trying to gain politically from it? Is he trying to get a position? Like, that's just the kind of stuff you have to to look at. But always there's going to be someone who financially gains from it. Multiple, usually. And it's a lot. Like, why so many people will say, why are so many people obsessed with this case? Why can't they get over it? Why can't they move on? That's the whole psychological aspect of it. They know what is going to trigger people. They know what's going to get them pull at heartstrings because they're good at what they do. And they've been doing it for years. Just like the case that I was talking about a little bit ago that I keep mentioning. That happened in 2017. There are still people to this day trying to figure out what happened that night. Because there's so many unanswered questions, even though there was so much information released. People are still filing FOIA requests and getting denied. Same thing's going to happen with this case, you guys. You can file all the Cora and FOIA requests you want. They're just going to give you the runaround, and they're not going to release any more information because they already pushed their narrative and pushed their agenda. But as long as we keep giving it attention and believing all this crap that's coming out, all this hearsay information and drama, as long as we keep believing it and giving this case attention, they're going to keep pushing the agenda, and the people are going to just keep going on with this case. And I don't, to be honest with you, I'm surprised that it's gone on this long. Excuse me, because I haven't seen them carry it out this long in other cases. But maybe there's that one agenda that they haven't accomplished yet. And I think that's the taking away free speech on social media. And that's where I think KK comes in. With her whole alien sighting, fake news that she keeps saying over and over again. And the whole, I don't even want to bring it up, but the whole back and forth banter between her and that bigger channel that we're all familiar with, accusing that channel of lying and releasing false information about emailing Chris, and the guests he has on that says that they're in contact with Chris. They're trying to discredit independent journalists on social media to take away free speech. They're not going to want us, they don't want us talking about anything that goes against the official narrative. So let's say they accomplish that. You'll still have the mainstream media videos like Denver News and Fox or HLN and your Ashley Banfields that cover the, but you're not going to have someone else who's trying to expose it for what it really is. Just like they've censored all the other, not all, but most of the other truth channels that cover bigger events than this. They're doing it. They've done it, and they're doing it, and they just did it again. They had a big purge. And they demonetized a ton of big channels. It doesn't matter how many subscribers you have, how much money you bring in. They don't want anyone to have free speech that's going to question these events and these news stories that have all these holes. And without being able to express what I want to say fully, due to the fact that they have it in the guidelines that I can't, because they know that people are not going to want to, lose their channel, lose their subs that they, worked hard for and spent a lot of time building. And if they are monetized, they know that channels aren't going to want to lose their income. And that's how they silence us. They put that in their stupid guidelines, knowing that they're going to be able to control these channel creators because they know that they're not going to want to lose their channels or lose their income. So they threaten you with the whole, demonetizing thing. If you say this, we're either going to demonetize you, you're going to lose your income, your super chats, or we're just going to strike you and we're going to completely take your channel down. So that's how they're censoring us. But we're finding a way to get around that. And they don't like that. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to take away free speech on social media. And we're going to wake up one day and it's going to be gone just like that. Not just me, you guys as well. You're not going to be able to ask questions about a case that doesn't add up. So it's not just, it's not just channel creators, it's the public. And people will say, well, why aren't other people speaking out? Well, they have, and they do, and they get their channel. There's other channels on YouTube where they've had their channels taken down multiple times, but they started another channel and then that one got taken down. They've had to build their subs back up. Channel creators, just like myself, went over to DLive because it wasn't as censored there. And so, we thought we were going to be able to speak more freely over there compared to YouTube. But just this week, DLive censored a bunch of people, big channels that were bringing DLive a lot of money, they took down. Lost all their subs, lost their subscriptions, paid subscriptions. People that bought subscriptions, because on DLive you buy subscriptions or follow, or DLive you follow someone instead of subscribing. And then on DLive you subscribe, whereas to YouTube you become a member. So, same thing, just different titles. But on DLive, viewers can actually gift subs to other viewers. So not only did a lot of those streamers on DLive get demonetized, but they took away all the viewers' subscriptions that they had. Gone. So, viewers that have nothing to do with, speaking out or whatever, they were just going to watch their favorite streamers, they lost their paid for subscriptions. DLive took them away like that. I don't know if DLive plans on reimbursing them, but and it was like instant in a day. And if people don't start waking up and if people keep begging for their rights to get taken away, we're not going to have any left. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. And just because, it's not happened in the true crime community yet, and it's more in the conspiracy channels, that doesn't mean shit, because it's happening now. And if you notice, they're slowly redacting the discovery. If you go on the online discovery, little by little, they've either removed stuff from the discovery or they started redacting it. So that for whatever reason, I don't know if it's to save them from looking like just like everybody's just going to forget that none of the discovery was redacted. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but they're doing it. So why release the discovery with everyone's personal information not redacted, and then 2 years later or a year later go in and start redacting stuff. Same thing happened with the other case that I mentioned earlier. Same exact thing. Like the fact that all these, people that were involved in this case, all the neighbors, the coworkers, the fact that all of their personal information was released to millions of people should tell you guys, it should support my theory just in itself, in my opinion. Because you can't just release personal information of victims and coworkers and neighbors and whoever, especially in a homicide case. Like it's not legal. What makes it legal is when it's an illusion, like Francesca just said. Thank you. That was great because I couldn't think of another word. When it's a reality show, they can release personal information. Because in a real homicide case, it's illegal. You can't do that. Because it's to protect people who are involved. It's for their protection. So you're telling me that all the neighbors, all the coworkers, all the family members are just okay with their phone numbers, their addresses, names, you name it, like being released, even if they were, it's illegal. And I find it funny that Amanda Purcell would tell Dr. B when she went to get the discovery files that it took some time because they had to redact information or, individuals' information for their protection. But they didn't bother to do it when they released the discovery, when they were pushing an agenda and pushing their psychological bullshit on everybody. They didn't bother to do it then. So now all of a sudden, when Dr. B goes to get the discovery files, now they're doing it? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see where I'm going with this? Nothing makes sense in this case because it's not supposed to. They do that on purpose. No other homicide case has had this much information released and had so many unanswered questions. They do it on purpose. They only release what they want us to see, what's going to pull at heartstrings, what's going to push their narrative. And that's why nothing adds up. And that's why people are obsessed with this case. And they can't get over it, whether they're emotionally involved or whether they want to solve the case because it's true crime. And that's what you guys do in true crime, right? And they know that. But I don't know how much more evidence I can show you guys. I don't know how much more of the connections and their Easter eggs and their mockery I can show you guys for you guys to see it. And I know it's not going to be easy because again, that's how good these operations are. And unless you know what you're looking for, and unless you remember these characteristics that I tell you guys about all the time and these red flags, the majority of people are not going to spot them, and they're never going to see it for what it really is. And that sucks. But they're just not. The best I can do is provide you with the information that I have learned over the years, that I've learned these red flags from other people. And, that they told me over and over again. And that's why I was able to spot this case for what it really is. Now, if I didn't know about these red flags, if I was in your guys' boat, I most likely wouldn't either. I would probably would have fallen victim to the operation as well. But because I remembered the red flags and the characteristics from these other cases, that's why I was able to, because I knew what to look for. And once you know what to look for, they're fairly easy to spot. Once you know how they operate, once you know how they use their codes and their numerology and their stupid Easter eggs and their breadcrumbs and their coding, and it's like it's actually amazing how they incorporate all of it into these events, but it's mockery, you guys. They're mocking us. So every single day that we keep talking about this case, they're winning. If everybody, which it would never happen, but if everybody just stopped talking about this case and stopped believing the bullshit that people are spewing out with no evidence to back it up, if people just stopped talking about it, stopped believing it, and moved on, they would lose. They would lose in their game. They might have, or they have, or able to be successful with most of their motives, such as financially and whatever, over the past 2 years. But maybe if everyone stopped talking about the case, then they wouldn't be able to maybe get their last whatever they're trying to get, and which I think is free speech, in my opinion. And again, it would never happen. But if we did stop giving this case the time of day and said, you know what, I don't care. We're never going to solve it. Let's just move on. They would lose. And that would be like the best day of my life. If everyone just like, if I woke up and then I went on to start researching the case and it was just like, everyone's like, what are you talking about, Megan? We're like, that was like so yesterday, the Watts case. Like, I can't believe you're still even trying to like talk about that. Like, what are you talking? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, that would be fantastic because I would know that they lost or they weren't able to achieve everything that they wanted to. But again, that would never happen because that's how well these operations work. So my only advice, not my only advice, but as far as what's going on now, don't give, and I'm only talking about her because it is important because I feel like she is a part of the agenda. And so that's the only reason why I do bring her up. But try not to let her get to you because these people, they don't just pop up out of nowhere 2 years later for no reason. Probably means something if, they just, boop, hello, 2 years later, and then go just real hard on that whole accusation thing. Probably means something. So if, all those people that want to pay to be a member to hear whatever, let them. But that, they'll unfortunately they'll learn because I guarantee you it's going to catch up to her. Or it's going to catch up to us because people are going to get so pissed off that she's blaming Shanann for the murders that they're going to actually beg for their rights to get taken away. They're going to demand that YouTube, and okay, now that I think about it, do you guys remember when Frank Rusek stood in front of the Watts home and he made a trip all the way out to Colorado? Apparently, I guess there was a Thrive convention, so maybe that's why. But He claimed that he went all the way to Colorado because he felt that it was fitting or something to do it in front of the Watts home, to do that news conference thing. He said that, about the whole being threatened thing, and they keep getting messages, and they try to stay off social media, but they can't, and they're being harassed. And what did he say? Do you guys remember? He said, we have contacted YouTube, we've contacted Facebook, we've contacted Twitter, and to no avail, he specifically says, to no avail did they do anything about them being harassed, allegedly. Which, again, I've never seen any evidence of that whatsoever. When he stood up there and I saw that press conference, I immediately knew that they were trying to, or got the feeling that they were trying to take away free speech. So I want you to think about it. And I know I'm terrible at explaining things, but think about it. The Ruseks, or Frank Rusek, stood up there and said that, blatantly said, YouTube and Twitter and Facebook are not doing anything about it, about us being harassed. So, in my opinion, that was their first attempt for people to get outraged and say, this is terrible. How could people harass and send death threats to a murder victim's family? Do something about it. Do something. Google, Twitter, YouTube. This shouldn't be happening. Do something about it. But when nobody reacted, they went to Plan B. Plan B was the Ruseks engaging in, even though they should probably stay off social media and mourn the deaths of their family, because it's probably not the best place to be. So instead of doing that, they retreated to going and purposely engaging themselves on channels on social media, as I mentioned earlier, supporting the ones that were advocating for them, and instigating them, causing division in the true crime community, mocking the channel creators that these so-called advocates were making fun of. I mean, you have the Ruseks, who are claiming to be victims, saying, poor us, we've been threatened, we've been doxxed, we've been harassed, we are victims. And yet they turn around and have the audacity to go into the channel creators that were mocking other channel creators, making fun of them, dressing up like them, wearing wigs, just completely just being horrible, going in the comment section, the Ruseks, remember, they're victims. And regardless of what kind of, if you're, a murder victim or whatever, murder victim's family member, we've all been a victim to something at some point in our lives, whether it be, drug abuse or whatever, or bullying. We're all, in a sense, victims, for whatever. So to say that, poor us, we're victims, how dare you, even though there's no evidence of any death threats or harassing, go and make fun of, or support and encourage what these other channel creators did to these other channel creators that did nothing to deserve it. And say, ha ha ha, that's so funny. Oh my God, that's my day. You're so funny for making fun of another channel creator. How in the hell can they call themselves victims and then mock people and encourage people that are doing the making fun of? So attempt number 2 was to cause division, say, oh, poor us Rusex, we're getting harassed, getting threatened. And that's when they wanted people to say, do something about it. The Rusex are being harassed online. That particular channel creator that we all know about that causes a bunch of chaos. We're gonna sue them for talking bad about Shanann, but she never talked bad about Shanann. That's a completely different story, but I'm not getting into that. So anyways, without going into more detail on attempt number 2, that was attempt number 2. Okay. Frank Rusek in front of the House saying, Google's not doing anything about it. This is ridiculous. We're victims. Didn't work. Rusek's going and purposely engaging themselves, becoming moderators, causing division. Pro Watts, pro Rusex. I hate the Rusex more. I hate the Watts more. The Rusex are terrible people. No, the Watts are terrible people. Like, even though we don't know any one of the families whatsoever, besides what we've been told on social media and by law enforcement, we don't know. Nobody knows these families. They could be anybody. They could be serial killers themselves for all we know. We don't know. All we know is what we're being told. And people just say, oh, the Rusex are victims. Please don't, stop harassing the Rusex. They're victims. Like, you're not a victim when you go and mock other people that you have no idea what they've been through in their lives. So, cut the crap, Rusex. I don't care. Unsub for me if someone's listening to this and they don't like it. I don't care. Don't say you're a victim and then go and make fun of people. And then work with an organization that actually, its sole purpose, the Honor Network, goes around and literally scrubs conspiracy theories from the internet or anybody that questions the official narrative. And the Honor Network just happens to work with other victims' families that were involved in other tragic events where there was had a bunch of inconsistencies, a bunch of discrepancies, and anyone who questioned those events, the Honor Network went around, mass flagged, and got them censored and taken down. So what are the odds that this case, the Watts case that has all these inconsistencies, yada, 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 they just so happen to be working with the Honor Network that it literally goes around and scrubs any channels or videos where they question the official narrative? Why aren't we allowed to question inconsistencies in an event? Because they want people like myself exposing it. Okay, so back to these free speech attempts. Okay, so just recap. Frank Rusek in for the House. Rusek's odd behavior on social media. That didn't work. Both of those didn't work out. Now you have all of a sudden KK, boom, poof. Genie in a bottle, right? Just comes out of nowhere. And I know people have said that she's been around on Facebook and ever since the case happened. I'm sure she has, and I'm sure that she was pushing an agenda back then too, because I'm almost positive, many plants in here or people that go into these live streams or for example, like come into like my live stream and just say, oh, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, like to try and get to me, like it's gonna offend me. But so I'm sure she has been here since the beginning. But she doesn't. You don't just pop up out of nowhere after 2 years and go, "Oh, yep, I think Chris is innocent, and I think that Shanann killed her kids, and just that's it." And just and have no repercussions for it. I mean, this woman is literally accusing Shanann of murdering her children, but that's okay with YouTube. Like, how is that okay? How is it okay to, and I don't like Kessinger just as much as you guys don't like Kessinger, but for different reasons. Because I know that she played a specific role in this case, and the only thing she is guilty of is lying to us, not to the police, because they know about it. They know about it. They're all a part of it. But all of these main characters in this case, they're not guilty of murdering anybody. They're guilty of lying to us to push their agenda, or agendas, whatever it may be. They have lied to us on a massive scale, and they are mocking us by putting their codes and their breadcrumbs, and like talk about over and over again, their P&P and the American Horror Story. And it infuriates me every single day that I see so many people falling victim to this case, knowing that it's a lie. And that's why I'm here, and I'm trying to, show you guys this, because I don't like to be lied to, and I'm sure you guys don't like to be lied to. But it's not just about that. It's about the fact that regardless of if I wake up one person or 1,000 or 10,000, whatever, I know that would never happen because my channel's so small, but if it's important for me to wake people up, because we are losing our rights every single day. And not only that, but we're begging for it. People are begging for the rights to get taken away. And that's, again, where this Hegelian dialectic thing comes in. They create the problem. We react and say, "Oh my God, please do something." So we turn to them for the solution, not knowing that they're the ones who actually created the problem in the first place. And it's a brilliant technique. I don't know if that's the right term for it, technique, but it's rather brilliant. But excuse me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to end this. My voice is like going. So sorry, I got off track there. But yeah, so the attempts 1, 2, and now I think this is kind of like the last hurrah. So the end, the end for one of the agendas is to take away completely independent media on these social media platforms, because they don't want, again, people trying to expose it. So when you see in their guidelines, my theory mentioned 3 times, one as the actual thing and twice as an example, that should say it all to me, in my opinion. I mean, why is it that they don't want you questioning the authenticity of an event? Why am I not allowed to question an event that has many holes in the narrative and inconsistencies? And I sound like a broken record, but it's true. We should be allowed to ask questions. But hey, it's okay to accuse someone you don't even know of murder or an accomplice to murder. Hey, you know what? That's okay. But Megan, you're not allowed to question inconsistencies in a tragic event where nothing adds up. Weird. And again, I'm not going to be able to make everybody see, because there's going to be those people that are just not going to want to go there. They're not going to want to even fathom that they may have been duped, or that they've been lied to, or that they've been trying to solve a case for 2 years to find out, or to want to believe that they were trying to solve a case that is one big reality show. And I understand that. I understand that people don't want to know that they've been duped. That's a terrible feeling. But I'd rather personally swallow my pride, say, "Oh, well, that sucks, that they did that to me. That's shitty. Like, I feel like an idiot. I've been duped." But I'd rather, again, swallow my pride and learn from it and make sure that they don't fool me again, instead of living the rest of my life pretending that everything's perfect and that people aren't shitty and corrupt, and just live in my little safe bubble and ignore everything that's like going on around us right now. And unfortunately, the people that are not awake, and they don't want to go there, and their cognitive dissonance gets in the way with them, or gets in the way. Those are going to be the ones, or that don't think for themselves as well. That's important. Those are going to be the ones that are going to ruin it for the ones that are awake and who ask questions and think for themselves. And it's frightening, because those are going to be the ones, again, that are going to beg for not only their rights, but our rights to get taken away. Not even knowing that that's what they're doing until it's too late. And you guys can see how difficult it is for me, on top of me not being a great explainer or speaker. I mean, that's difficult enough as it is, let alone having to watch what I say all the time because I'm worried about my channel getting taken down. All of these other channel creators are having no issues. They don't have to speak in code. They can say every theory that they want in the book, from demon possession to accomplices to Survey 319 being blown up to witchcraft to you name it. They can theorize every single Rusty. And then over. He couldn't just go up on the left of me. I gotta just keep going. think I lost connection there. So, okay, real quick before I end this, because my voice is like getting really bad. Before I lost connection, what I'm saying is why can all these other channels just say whatever they want, every single theory that you can think of, and that's okay. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. What I'm saying is that why is it okay for all those theories? Like, even if, if I wanted to do that, I will never change my theory ever. But if I wanted to start right now and say that I think that this person, this person, this person did it, and there's 12 people involved, or Jim did it, or whatever, like, I can say that all I want, and I wouldn't have to worry about my channel being taken down. But the minute that I try to say my theory that I have never changed in 2 years, if I say that theory, I risk getting my channel taken down. Just that one theory, that's it, no other. So, ask yourselves why that is. Why are all the other ones, why is accusing someone of murder okay, but I can't question the authenticity of something? And if conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists are so crazy and so ridiculous, then why are they trying so hard to shut us up? But again, that's how they control us. That's how they're controlling me now, because they put it in their guidelines that I can't talk about it. I can't say it, or I risk getting my channel taken down. They know that. And they have no problem, again, taking definitely my channel down, because I'm not doing anything for them. I'm not going to put a dent in their wallet. I'm not even monetized. So they have no problems taking down the big channels, the channels that have had over 1 million subscribers, some over 500,000, multiple times. They don't care. They're going to take down whoever. They could take my channel down tomorrow for just because they want to. They don't even have to have a reason. So, and if they don't, they'll make up a reason. Just like my theory is hate speech. How is my theory hate speech? But accusing someone of murder isn't hate speech? Like, I've been trying to be as respectful as possible to, and even to the Ruseks and the Watts, believe it or not, I've been trying to be respectful to them, even though I know what's going on. And, but it's not going to, it's getting me nowhere, and it's getting you guys nowhere. So I can't sugarcoat this anymore. I still have to sugarcoat it because of the stupid guidelines. And now, and that's the whole thing with DLive. Like, I thought that I was going to be able to go over there so I could talk more freely, but now after that purge, now we're being censored over there. And then, you know what? We're going to go over to a different platform, but it's only going to be, a matter of time before that platform gets, censored. But I can't do it on here. Now I'm not going to be able to do it on DLive. Like, it's getting very difficult. So I'm like running out of time, and I can't stop sugarcoating it. But it's important to me, and it's important to society and for us to wake up. Regardless, I know this isn't what a lot of a lot of people want to hear. They don't want to hear they've been duped, or they don't like my outing. It's not like, you know, of course we all want Kessinger to be, polygraphed, and for justice for the girls in Shanann, and like that would be fantastic. I want Kessinger to go down for a different reason, not for murder, but because she lied to everybody, because she's a whole part of the whole shenanigans. I'm gonna start saying that from now on. But sorry, I just did like a sigh. I'm like, um, but yeah, I can't sugarcoat it anymore, and I feel weird that I'm getting all like dramatic and stuff. But I don't think that the whole like respectful thing. I mean, I can still be respectful, and I'm still being respectful. But in order to get for anybody to believe what I'm saying, I'm not going to be able to sugarcoat it anymore. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to hurt feelings of some people. And that's not what I want to do. But getting the truth out there is more important than hurting some people's feelings, unfortunately. Because it's not about feelings anymore. It's about doing what's right, and it's about making sure that we don't lose our rights that they are slowly taking away. And again, I know my theory is not what people want to hear, and they don't want to fathom that someone who has been portrayed as an innocent victim who never, did anything wrong, they're not going to want to hear my theory, and I get that. But unfortunately, you guys, not everything is what it seems. And I know I've said this before, like a broken record, but people are really good at fooling other people and lying and pretending to be someone that they're not, especially these days. Like, it's so easy to deceive people. And it sucks how shitty people are, but it's life. especially if they are doing it to push an agenda. They don't care. They don't care about our feelings. They don't care that they've fooled millions of people, and that people have been heartbroken over this case and cried over this case, are still crying over this case. They don't care. All they care about is pushing their agenda or agendas, and moving on to the next one where they're going to gain more from the next one, and hurt more people. They don't give a shit. And unfortunately, if I want to wake people up, again, regardless if it's 1 or 10,000, like, I'm going to get nowhere by worrying about hurting other people's feelings that have been affected by this case. Unfortunately, those are going to be the ones who are not going to be able to be saved. No matter how great of a speaker I am, or how much evidence I have, how many other people that agree with me tell them, how many experts on these cases they watch, they are never going to be able to be saved or woken up. Because, cognitive dissonance is a bitch. Literally. Because it's just, again, the only people that I'm going to have any hope of showing or getting to wake up are the ones that are going to have an open mind and not be, or look at things from all perspectives and not be scared to admit that they've been duped and not want to live in a bubble for the rest of their lives. So for, the people that don't want to live in the bubble or a bubble for the rest of their lives and ignore everything that's going around them because it feels safe or because they just don't want to go there, those are the ones that I'm doing it for, or doing this for, and for myself and for others, like that want to not be controlled by a group of selfish people. So that being said, I'm going to go get something to drink and rest my voice. And I'm sorry for ignoring the chat. I just feel like if I stop, then I'm going to mess everything up. And I was kind of on a roll there. So hey, Picker Leech, thank you for that. Hey, Fuzz. Oh, and before I go, just so, and I will not talk about it specifically, but, and it's not because it's like I'm not like, oh, I have something to tell you, but I can't tell you what it is. It's because it's important to what I'm trying to show you guys, but I literally, it's so frowned upon that I don't even want to go there. But in another event recently, see, okay, now I can't even do it. Okay, so there's something to do with a lion, and we have the word lie in it again, and there's another Lee in it, because they're telling us essentially it's all a lie. And then you have the Lee popping up, and something rather interesting as well. In KK's reenactment video, I don't know if it's her wrist or if it's the police officer's wrist, she's wearing a bracelet, one of those rubber band. I myself personally would not wear a bracelet or jewelry or a piercing stud in my hand if I was doing a reenactment for an investigation or whatever, if I was trying to show people something specifically. Because to me, by wearing jewelry and whatever and having all this stuff on your wrist, that's a distraction from what you're trying to show people. Now, maybe you don't want people to actually pay attention to the reenactment specifically, but maybe you want to subliminally, subconsciously and subliminally see what you're wearing on your wrist, even though it might seem insignificant to people not in the know or to the ones who are being influenced. You would wear that bracelet on purpose. Now, if you guys follow me and have seen my videos on the name in their game, the names in their game, you'll be familiar with the name Lee and the suffix that they use in other names, like at the end, like Man Lee, Officer Man Lee. Well, you have on her bracelet Truly forever, because they love their names, you guys. So, why would somebody wear this bracelet in a reenactment that would be a distraction from showing a strangulation reenactment that says Truly forever? something to keep in mind for ending thoughts. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get something to drink, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for being here.